You may prioritize things differently. You may not be the prince of popularity, but at least you'll be an incredible business person. Especially in the crypto world, like we're all masochistic here in some ways. It's such a painful, brutal, intense world, right? And the expectations, I think they need to be smart goals as well. So
Yeah.
specific, measurable, attainable, realistic timing.
Scaling partnerships was another one. As your startups grow, how should your approach to partnerships evolve?
So scalability, I see it from multiple angles, guys, right? So I see it as you can increase revenues to grow a team. You can increase revenues to grow your tech, because sometimes people don't want to grow their team. Maybe their comfortable zone is around 40, 50 employees and not go up to 250 like SwissBorg, right? So understanding your goals first, and what do you want to scale? Do you want to scale your technology so that you can automate things more and just be more efficient amongst your peers? Do you want to scale in the sense where you reduce costs and expenses? So there, you see what I'm saying here, guys. You can scale the technology, you can scale the employees, but for everything you need to scale revenues. Is what I'm trying to say when it comes to scaling. And I think um, one thing that I see people who scale extremely well, and this is from many people I've observed, is they're so good at prioritizing time, guys. The way
Mm.
they prioritize time is crazy good, crazy good. I've seen people like they barely do meetings, right? If there's no very clear agenda, if there's no very clear goal, if one person, key person, is missing from the meeting, he will cancel the entire meeting. So really understanding your time, and really, once again, if you understand that, you know, risk reward and long-term scaling goals, and you keep that as in a simple question to yourself: what matters the most for my company to grow? This matters, or revenues, and this matters, maybe token price action. And so for those reasons, if you have those goals, you will be able to say no to some things. And I know it hurts. And I know you won't be the most popular person in the world if you
Mm.
want to scale. But at the end of the day, that's the trade-off, right? You may prioritize things differently. You may not be the prince of popularity, but at least you'll be an incredible business person.
You do have to prioritize and where you spend your time. Like, actually, Thomas and I had this conversation recently. It's like, okay, so we're looking at costs for certain projects, and it's like, well, I genuinely think you just got to make more money, right? That's generally my move for these kind of things, rather than like, how can I say, like, would I would I spend 2 weeks trying to save 500 quid? Not really. I'd much rather like put my time into saying, okay, we need to make another 20. And that's generally how I prioritize when it looks to that. Is let's look at the finance, let's look at what's really happening, let's look at how this really affects the project, and like, where do you prioritize time? I think it's just such a key thing that, especially in the entrepreneurial game, you fuck it up often because you get caught in the operations, right? Like, you get caught in how something's running when really you need to be working on the business rather than an employee in it.
100%, 100%. I think, and that's why, like, I think a good sales trainer, or someone who kind of leads a sales or business development team, which was me at
Yeah.
Swissborg, right? Is that just getting into that habit of getting the employees to look at the balance sheet, and really, you're almost like transforming them into entrepreneurs in some ways, right? And it's not to be an asshole. It's simply for them to really see this as often as possible from a business standpoint, and not just a product standpoint or a
Yeah.
service standpoint. Yeah.
What strategies can ensure long term engagement and mutual benefit in a partnership, particularly in the technology driven markets like Web3?
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, first of all, I think that long-term engagement from the company standpoint, like employees, retaining employees, reducing churn, all that kind of stuff, that comes from the culture, 100%, and the culture
Mm-hmm.
which is connected to the purpose. And I think, there, especially in the crypto world, like we're all masochistic here in some ways. It's such a painful, brutal, intense world, right? So we
Well, we're
get,
trying to change the world. Who said it was going to be easy and it wouldn't hurt?
there's one meme. I'm sorry, guys. This is so X rated, but let me just say it. There's one meme that I love that makes me giggle, even though I've read it 1,000 times.
Mm.
It's like, I don't need sex because crypto fucks me every day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's the thing that we should probally show to new founders
Yeah.
or new entrepreneurs in this space. Is like,
Well,
are you ready for this?
Yeah. I'm not sure if this should go out, but anyways, it's okay these days. The community is different from the corporate clients, but it's so true. And I lost track of the question. Sorry, the question was, in terms of
managing long-term engagements, those
long-term engagement.
relationships.
Yeah, so the culture is definitely for employees.
Yeah.
Long-term relationships with companies. I would love to rely on the five love languages. You have to meet physically. Like there's something about remote work that just doesn't work. We have all the data, guys, like of people who are so remote wouldn't come to any of our um, corporate, outings and the events that we do to for bond building and all that kind of stuff. The corporate activities. The what are they called again? The when you go out with a company once a year. I forgot the term.
We call
Anyway,
it a heyday, but
yeah, retreat. There you go.
retreat. Right, right.
There you go. So we have the data, guys, and I can tell you very, very easily that this kind of connects both the love languages and relationships in general, whether it's within the
Hmm.
company and or a client or a partner. Um, Not having a physical connection is really bad. Like I can tell you the drop off from the engineer side who are working completely remote and never come to HQ, never come to the retreats, they're going to drop off a lot faster. The churn rate is a lot higher. There's something, we're human beings, right? We're not robots. So you need that physical interaction. You need to meet with each other. I think some of the best times when it came to innovation were times where we locked ourselves up, for a week or two with all of the C's, right? And we did workshops every day. We went, we did some randonnée, like, walking and trekking together and, doing campfires, right? We're human beings at the end of the day. And it's the same thing with the corporate clients. Once again, even if you send lots of gifts, even if you do some good servicing, that's great. Even if you still need that quality time together. You still need that in-person thing. So
Mm.
I think that's the key for everything. And a lot of our really big KOLs that we lost in terms of affiliation just stopped promoting us. It just happens to be those that we hadn't met them physically for over a year and a half, right? The product hasn't changed. We have even more features than before, but it just fades out, if that makes sense. Just like a long distance relationship, right? When you're dating someone.
Yeah, no, it's very true. I mean, the next question is risk management. What common pitfalls should startups avoid when entering and managing a partnership? I guess not meeting in person is probably
Big one.
it's the thing with these questions. They kind of answer each other, which is
Yeah.
great. But are there any other key pieces of risk management when it comes to clients, partnerships, KOLs that or general partnerships between companies that you would advise
Yeah.
our,
I
our,
mean,
our
I
community?
think that there's something that's really important, which is expectations, right? Like really making sure that you fully understand the expectations. And the expectations, I think they need to be SMART goals as well. So
Yeah.
specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, timely. So, and that's why, unfortunately, it's always good to have a document, like a written agreement for all types of relationships, even if it's cross promotional or marketing. It's better to have that binding agreement. It doesn't have to be a legal contract, but some sort of MOU, LOI, simple agreement where both parties sign. So I think expectations is key, guys, because if there's one thing that wasn't mentioned in that agreement, that could kill relationship in itself, if that makes
Cool.
sense. And I'll give you
Yeah.
I'll give you just one
Ton.
example, right? Like, so there's one ventures company, VC, where we helped them. We both co-invested in a project, and we
Hmm.
brought them some very high quality content creators. And we found out later, even though we'd verbally agreed, through conversations, that we didn't want them to try to pouch our network, because we work with them constantly, right? And we create strategies for other projects. And a lot of people were circumventing us trying to steal them from us. And that unfortunately was not, there was no agreement in place. And that really can, that's something that all of a sudden, if you don't have a physical agreement, the relationship goes south, right?